This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Los Angeles, 2019.
There was an escape from the off-world colonies. They slaughtered 20...
The assignment? Track down 6 manufactured humans. He's the best man for the job. But he may die trying to prove it. Harrison Ford is the Blade Runner.
You're a cop. What are you doing here?
What happened 30 years back?
I was long gone by then. I scrambled the records, covered my tracks.
Why?
Because that was the plan. Because we were being hunted. Because sometimes to love someone, you gotta be a stranger.
To strangers.
Rated R. Experience it in IMAX. October 6th.
We got Josh Hansen from Action Movie and Comic Book. Book Club for the win.
Clubs you can join without ever reading a single.
You're right. But I still have to send him a list of stuff to read. Mike Insing is back as always. Welcome.
Hey.
Howdy who? Gil Palmer, the one, the only film connoisseur.
Wake up, time to die.
So we're going to talk about all things Philip K. Dick and Cyberpunk here. We will deviate a bit because it's all actually pretty on point and related. We got William Bregnard from Future War Stories also joining us.
I've read some of the stuff. It's good.
Yes, and if you want the ultimate figuring out how a cyborg functions in Colonial Marines, he is your guy.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Now we go.
Finally.
He had us in suspense.
Finally.
It's like when the Falcon is docking with the Death Star, what's going to stop them from blowing it out of the sky?
Always something anymore. Hello.
Chances are every other thing is influenced by Blade Runner. From Fifth Element to Dark City, you name it. It just seems like it is the go-to for if you want to show a dystopia with Oriental markets, with flying cars, with future cops. I mean, even Trancers, with Tim Thomerson was a ripoff of it, And they had the nerve to include the future car in a scene. We will go around a bit, and this will sprinkle into some other Philip K. Dick adaptations. What is it about the whole Deckard saga that just unites? We also got Oreo here, by the way.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm here.
You're here, but is it the real you, or is it a cyborg sent to replace you?
I don't know.
We have the only Vern from Cinema Recall, who is
hi everybody. Hello. Sorry I was late getting here.
He is an unapologetic Blade Runner fanatic, and it would not be right if I had excluded him. Yeah, I was just
Thank you, Cam. I'm saying that right now while I hold my Blade Runner VHS.
VHS. Okay. Wow.
The old school at the original VHS version.
Oh my goodness!
I've seen all the different cuts of the movie. Read the book. The animation of the movie, and read the book on the movie itself, and so I'm very excited to get into, and I'm going to learn a lot from other people there because I'm just an avid fan, but all of you are like experts. I'm here to learn from you all. Okay, I am basking
absorb
in your
positive vibes.
I'm just absorbing everything. Okay, I'm like that geeky little guy that's like, hey, woo, ha, woo, and that's everywhere. So I will just let the experts take it away.
I want more.
I've seen the movie once, so
okay.
I'm an expert.
We're gonna
all right. See, But I'm hoping we'll get to talk about all the different cuts of this movie.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
talk about how this film came to be. We'll talk about the sequel as well.
I too have tried reading Philip K. Dick at different intervals, and I need to just sit down and try again because he is very, very complex, very detailed. So you got to be in the right frame mind to make sense of androids dream of electric sheep.
Not only that, but many of his works too. And noir is same as like Blade Runner is like noir. I don't know, like whose first time was it watching this movie?
Oh, with Blade Runner, definitely in the 2000s. How about you, Will? You've seen it over 100 times, you claim.
Yeah.
Over 100 times.
My introduction was. Oh,
Mm.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I have this
I
whole
was gonna say
story.
my introduction was a Marvel comic book before I actually saw the movie.
That's
You
a
had the
cool
Marvel comic?
adaptation.
Oh my god!
If you like the other adaptations of other stuff like DC's Total Recall, I think you'll like it. Go ahead.
That's so.
But the visual style of Blade Runner and Dreadnoughts with Electric Sheep, it's like a happy accident that this movie is, because we have Ridley Scott involved, and Ridley wanted it to look like Tokyo, to look like Times Square, and that's where all this stuff, as you can see, cityscape in the back of me. Yeah, it's crazy what the book is, and what's crazy was the movie. And here's the thing I kind of wanted to put.
Who could have predicted it?
Backstory about Blade Runner, about how, because I didn't see it in the theater. In '82, I was 6. And so I saw other movies like Dark Crystal, Secret Light, the NIM movie. So I saw those movies, but Blade Runner came and went. It died in the theater.
Yeah. Fight Club, no one liked it at the time.
No one
until
liked
HBO.
And it's fascinating that they keep trying to do like sequels and like little offshoots because it was never a hit. Like,
yeah,
of course.
I mean,
I'm sure it's got to be chaotic.
Like 2049 was a bomb. Like,
yeah, but Dennis V.
I'm
pretty sure that
small sect of people who are super into it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that changed when videotape came out.
Yes.
Oh, it totally did.
It's see in the theater then, yeah.
But like Josh is saying, history repeats itself. It's like everyone just kind of brace themselves. It's like it's good, the quality, but we're not going to make a profit off it. But it didn't affect Dennis V's career, so that's
you're not going to make a box office profit, but you're going to make an afterlife before it was VHS.
People are going to rent it, yeah. I mean,
it's Blu-ray, now it's digital, whatever. You will get that money back, but it's going to show up as a bomb.
There is not as much narration in the work print cut, though I have like one bit of dialogue from Deckard at the end when Roy Batty gives his Tears in the Rain speech.
Oh, that's right.
There's a
Funko Pop
bit of dialogue that Deckard says at the end of that actually works great.
Can you believe that was all improvised? Can you imagine what a different movie that would have been? He just beats him up and he just dies after sitting there. That would have been like, okay.
Funny.
He would have felt he would have felt a little anticlimactic, and he just Rutger Hauer.
So what was the actual part of the script then? If that was,
to my knowledge, like he was just supposed to die after a fight, and the only stuff I have is Rutger Hauer's autobiography, which was published years before he unfortunately left us. But I was just like, man, what a dedicated man! Just what a cool talent.
William Robert.
The book. There's the book. I think some people are referencing. It's called, it's by Peter Simmons. He's dead now, and he wrote 2 versions of the Blade Runner book. Future Noir.
I covered that on the
I have that.
That is a good book.
And if anyone's interested at all in anything in Blade Runner, it is the Bible.
Yes.
He's written everything, and he did a version of it. I had the original, and you guys might have there's a new one, the 2nd edition that's out. And it's a compelling read. I read it when it first came out, and it has everything. And this book was out before we had any of the other
before we
versions.
had an internet database.
Yeah,
people calling themselves Spinner fans, or
This is how I learned. Okay, there's an international edition. It's a little bit more violent. There's, I saw the TV edit, or you saw this version. Okay, in the work print, we've got the 2 geisha that are dancing. This is only shot from it. You may see it one day. And he was a master. I mean, the only reason, when he got me down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what that gun is that Deckard used, I wrote, God, like a 100-page article on it once.
Yes, you did. I can't blame you. I I think it even took the Internet Firearm Database to even take a while to figure out what.
Oh, they have a hell of an article on it.
Movie is so loved because it has all these intricacies and like these. There wasn't an internet at the beginning.
Yeah,
so, and, like, you can learn everything. So you had to find your people that were into this like you were. And
it was a word of mouth kind of movie. I mean, definitely. Probably the second and third movie I saw Daryl Hannah in. Definitely the first thing I saw Joanna Cassidy in, though. That is for sure. And Brian James, there's a guy who's been in every Walter Hill, Western or cop movie, Tango and Cash. And he's just like the go-to 80s bad guy. But he was perfect casting because of his whole just innocent. Like, he was like the bully on the block who doesn't realize he's picking on people. Like, he had that mixture of cluelessness, and he too, like Deckard, wants to figure himself out. And
don't forget,
when he
J.F.
shoots,
Sebastian
he doesn't
was
even.
in Newhart.
Oh,
he was one of the generals, right?
Yeah, he was one of the brothers. And every time I'd see him, then I got to see the movie. Oh my
word!
We rented the movie Blade Runner, my brother and I'm like, "Hey, that's the guy from Newhart." And I was like, and then it went dark, and I'm like, "Whoa, that went weird."
He's in a movie.
Were you expecting his brothers Daryl and Daryl?
Yeah,
that would have been really funny if they had been made Blade Runner after. That would have been hilarious. Like he had replicants of that. That would have been
Newhart in the future reunion.
That would be
he
great.
was in the sci-fi adventure film Nemesis, which was by the director of Cyborg, but he was playing a totally kind of like that, is the replicant.
Well, you got Castile for Miami Vice too.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Wasn't everybody in Miami Vice?
Yeah, Edward James Olmos was perfect casting. I'll never forget that perfect trivia where, he and Harrison were pros. Olmos was all about, what can I bring to the scene? He's like, hey, since we don't have much to work with, I'm just in one scene. How about I call you, a horse's cock in Spanish and something just to show we got a history or something. And Harrison's like, you're cool. You do what you want to do. I'll play off of it. So that is awesome, especially considering how he and Sean Young weren't getting along, and Ridley is having to battle the execs trying to get the movie done on time and having electrical issues. It's just that's cool that there was still a good sense of rapport between everybody, and the fact that Harrison even wants to still talk about this movie, given how he doesn't necessarily want to talk about anything else. That's pretty cool.
That's true. It's very shocked that he was in the sequel as well, as being the fact they had so much difficulty making the movie. I mean, crews were quitting on Ridley Scott. The closest
I've ever gotten is I met his stunt double, who now is kind of his digital stand-in, Mike Massa. And it was so funny. I met him years ago when I was editing Wiccas, and I was asking him info about Indiana Jones and everything. And lo and behold,
it's on the tank from the horse.
No. We're talking Crystal Skull era, but like he's doubled Harrison more recently. Like his go-to guy, he's been a digital stand-in for him on like Force Awakens and everything. But next thing you know, I'm on a National Geographic show where he's the stunt coordinator, and he just had a good sense of humor. He got the joke, "Hey, I doubled 1 and 2 Supermans," and then he just do little other quirks that were just awesome. Like he got us in the mood. It's like, oh, we got to get in the battalion. Oh, that's right, that's you. Let's go in there. Let's go get in there.
He didn't use to stand in when Harrison Ford hit Ryan Gosling in the face during that Elvis scene in Las Vegas. So, we have that in Blade Runner. I don't know if that's in the actual movie where he hit him. I kind of think it is.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
I remember that.
I do recall a punch in the face. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Ryan Gosling's pretty, you don't want to hit him.
Put it down, you can see his reaction. Like, what the fuck?
Do you feel like they didn't advertise it well? Because like I saw many people going in and they were expecting like a Matrix type movie. I'm like, well, similar, but it's a slow burn. It's not.
It was hard to watch in theaters because one, a lot of the scenes were dark. So if you're sitting in the top row, you have bad eyesight. You can't see shit.
I was in the middle, but yeah.
Here's the thing too. The theater, the people that showed the film in theaters really need to preview that film and have like a better light and
pre-visualization,
because I saw it once in Dolby Cinema and it was great. The colors were crisp, they were clear.
I was surprised how my theater was behaving, because usually they always crap out or have some issue with the audio feedback, and fortunately they had their shit together. It was like a Star Wars opening. You're like, we can't goof this up. We gotta.
The Dolby Cinema screening was great, and then I went to watch it again and like just regular Dolby, like the regular digital format. And there's something with the light bulb; it wasn't as charged up as it should be, and so certain scenes were a lot darker than it should have been. When it should have been just a little bit more
Blu-ray
later.
quality.
So yeah, it was definitely not like the
2019.
4K Blu-ray
Now
quality
everything's
right
4K.
And I think the reason why the sequel got
people.
made.
There are only 3 people in the theater in Arlington at the Parks Mall where I saw it, because I live in DFW, and I saw it
remember
on
if
like
we
the
had
highest.
much of a turnout.
Yeah, I saw it
What
with 3
time,
people.
though?
I saw it at like 9 because I was going through Pantego and a cop stopped me. He goes, "What are you doing out so late?" I'm like, "What are you, my mother?" And I said, "I saw Blade Runner 2049, and it was amazing." And he's like, "You can go, sir." I'm like, "Let's talk about the movie," because I was going to write a review of it that night. But I saw it with 3 people. It was so loud.
I'm so glad that cop didn't go all like the bad cops and recall.
There's so much to go into with that story that's not related to what we're talking about.
I know, but it was interesting. It was 3 people, and like you could tell the people that never seen this. But I'm in the theater crying my eyeballs out.
So you'll love this.
Like,
I take my sister to it.
Don't know what they're going into.
Right.
My friend was brushed up on it. He went into it. He's like, I love this. I'm going to check out the original movie. I love that too. Same thing. My sister's like, I know the ins and outs. I know the nuts and bolts. No pun. She's cried at it. She's like, Anna de Armas, what an amazing actress. You know, all this falling in love with a hologram, all this forbidden love. You know, just perfect. You know, Gosling. I didn't know he could be serious. You know, and I've only seen him in like Crazy Stupid Love and the Russell Crowe movie. But
you should see Blue Valentine. It's good too.
That one is good.
I think we should all hate him because he's like super ripped and handsome.
Murder by Numbers. Yeah,
he's somehow funny. But we should
Half Nelson. I think Vern you reviewed recently. Yeah, Goosebumps. You would bring up Goosebumps, but young Hercules. There you go.
Yeah, that too.
But I just find it funny how I mean, as I'm going, you know, I'm texting my filmmaking buddy Ruby, you know, and her and her husband Joe are all picky. Like he loves all kinds of gangster stuff, and she's like, I prefer it be more cop or inspirational and stuff. So they're already nitpicking it. And I told them I'm about to see that. They're like, oh, we fell asleep. I'm like, oh, what did you expect? Matrix type movie. I'm like, nope. So nope, and no. And then her husband's excuse is like, I love the original. And I'm like, well, I thought it was the same.
The original? I don't know how you could shit on the new one.
You'd be surprised. I mean,
like.
How about the?
I like the new one very much. I had my friends watch it, and they've never seen Blade Runner. They saw clips of it.
I saw the new one before I saw the original.
It's not that long a movie either.
Well, you're able to understand everything that happens in Blade Runner. You don't really need to see the first one.
I was
That's a good movie. Yeah, I mean,
but. Do you agree with this? Do you, Josh? Do you have to see the original to enjoy the second one? If you never saw the first one, can you still understand the storyline?
I love the hell out of 2049, and I had never seen. It made me go watch the original.
There you go. See?
I was like, I want to know
just that
more.
level of suspense that they build up, where we're not sure if we can trust the police lieutenant, and then we find out she does have his back, but she's about to be killed by the actual guys trying to set him up. I like
the whole storyline where Kay is just trying to figure out who he is, and he may actually be
what it always was,
child
self-identity.
Yeah.
And that montage where they show returning people.
The original, right, is the ambiguity of it all.
Just those first 10-20 minutes, they wisely spend just recreating the whole feel, and then once they're comfortable, then they
there's a lot of slow moments. They're all character-driven moments. Like this,
it's just recreating the world, getting comfy instead of just rushing you in and doing only fan service or dividing your audience.
Also, everything's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the fact they brought back in Hampton Fancher to do the scripts.
That's a good point.
And a lot of the stuff that was in the original script for Blade Runner finds its way into 2049, which I thought was actually great. In fact, in the original script, Hampton Fancher wanted the whole entire plot of Blade Runner to just take place in apartment buildings. He didn't want to see the outside, but it was really Scott that said to him, hey, what happens outside the window? And Rancher Fancher's like, what do you mean what happens outside? We're here in these rooms. And
Yes.
we're in this guy, like, I want to see the world outside of these
I
walls
want
that
to
you're
see
doing.
that. I want to see the in the room.
Even dissecting all those different shorts, that's those are episodes in and of themselves.
Oh yes, oh gosh, the animated one they're great. I love the animated one.
Is anybody else watching Joanna Cassidy take a shower there?
Sure.
Mike, you peeping
Yes,
Tom.
but-
For
Hey,
those who don't know, Mike loves to have, I love this. It's a great interactive activity, but for those who can't see it, we have often some movie replaying in the background, and it is always funny when we get to a scene, and at least twice now we've had it where the scene we coincidentally are talking about happens to actually be going on in the scene.
It's subliminal, yeah.
So there had to be boobs. There had to be.
Of course.
I was like, you're going to make a movie in the 80s. Boobs had to show.
and a cast.
Well, there was a lot more that was in 2049.
Oh yes. The whole hologram set sequence that's in that movie is great. The way that
But kudos to him, like it feels kind of like Altered Carbon. You're showing why people would give into their urge as opposed
And
to
now we have
feeling
that
like a
today.
softcore shit. Yes, you were going to say that earlier, and so if anything, it's even making you wonder if we're de-evolving as a society. All of this stuff that we're predicting is becoming reality.
So the way that they have Aunt Damaris sort of like move in with the body of Mackenzie Davis' character, I thought was actually very well done. The way those both actors had to like mimic their bodies the same way and make it match and everything too. I wish that we could have gotten an NC-17 version of that movie to see more what happens
There's
of
still
them
time.
actually being able to have sets in that sequence there, the way they're able to like mate. Oh, that would just be brilliant.
That was a real pain in the butt to film that.
Nothing.
Oh, I bet it would
I mean,
be.
they filmed aliens having sex in Avatar, and that got PG-13. So, I mean, anything's possible. Just make them aliens. They'll think about it.
That's right.
Oh man, that's a great shot of the gun.
So I'm watching.
We're watching.
I'm
gun porn
watching
in the future.
2049 today, and I'm going, did I see this in the theater or on TV? And then my next thought was this implanted in my brain? Am I a replicant? The movie
Control,
starts
Alt,
gets me
delete.
thinking like that. Yeah.
Hey,
Must reach utility belt.
Mike, I got a question for you as a fellow Misty. Do you recognize the guy who played Tyrell?
You were gonna bring that up.
From an MST?
Tormented.
I had a vague.
Tormented. The doctor in Tormented is
guy,
the
no idea.
doctor.
I'd seen him.
His eyes gouged. He's also, as Vern knows, I'm sure the rest of you know, he's the bartender in The Shining.
Lloyd? Yes, Lloyd.
Yep.
Oh, the bartender in what?
In The Shining.
The Shinnin.
Oh, okay. But what's
The Shindig, yeah.
connection?
Well, I don't know about the MST3K reference there. I don't know what.
Yeah. He's been a long time actor, and so he's inevitably starred in some B movies for Roger Corman. But we just find it funny how he's the eye gouge
Well, you
guy
could even-
in Blade Runner. I know he has
During
a
the
name.
scene when he's meeting Deckard, he goes, "I'm going to provide you with a negative before I provide you with a positive before I provide you with a
That
negative."
was such great wordplay. Oh my
But
god.
he couldn't remember the lines. Like he's reading a cue card. If you watch his eye line, I read
Mumbo
that.
jumbo.
to him.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Paul Simmons,
Okay.
not Peter. It's Paul Simmons. I had to remember.
So like
But
those government agent shows, they needed some kind of
It's-
teleprompter or something, so they
They
could.
had cue cards
It's
up
just-
because you couldn't remember it.
It's the same way they got the guy who played the cowboy in Mulholland Drive to do his lines with cue cards because
On
he
the
was
Lynch
able
film?
to. Yeah, the Lynch film. There's when the cowboy is interviewing Justin Theroux, he has to use a cue card because he does not remember his lines, and that's why he speaks very slowly and that way because he had a hard time remembering his lines. So that's funny the way that Joe Turkel did
But
the same
kudos to
thing.
the editor. You don't
Yeah.
see that. Unlike when you see an actor and they're first getting comfy being an actor, you can kind of tell in that scene they're being prompted by the director off screen. Probably being scared.
Well, they put the unicorn sequence in there, but unicorns are imaginary. So why would that be an implanted memory if it's not realistic, too?
Well, later on, they talked about, in 2049, they talked about implanted or constructed memory.
I thought that's kind of what I got a gist of it too. It's kind of like you're not hungry.
There's no right answer.
There is no right answer.
Never said it. They never. I hope they.
But this is the difference between like a hackneyed word versus a work of art. We are still getting different variations on it versus we're arguing about it, and the screenwriters don't have a fucking answer. You know, see, but to your point, hold on.
Still arguing about it.
There is no point in arguing about it. To Mike's point.
Oh, there's a point in arguing about it. That's why we're here. There's no right answer.
There is no right answer. But to Mike's earlier point.
Whatever you fucking believe.
Okay, so with the unicorn, you know, think of it as how you don't remember that you're hungry until you start smelling a stew. You know, that's kind of what the unicorn thing. That's inviting him to kind of dream. That's what I took it as.
Okay.
That may not even be right at all, but that's okay. That's part of the guessing game.
The unicorn goes into that version where Deckard is replicant. And that's why I like it for that storyline. And I like the fact that there's all the different versions of Blade Runner where I can see it as just being a detective story. That's why I like the narration, because it just feels like a film noir detective story. And then if I watch the final cut, I'm watching a story about a man who's discovering that he probably is the thing that he's trying to hunt. And the theatrical version, he's trying to find empathy for these people that are hunting. But in the final cut, he finds out that he is the people that he's hunting. And I like the fact that there's different ways of looking at this material and whatnot.
The only one I've seen. I said that's the only cut I've seen. I still didn't think he was.
Okay, there you go. All right,
that's why
maybe
my overlying point is you can think whatever you want. You can take whatever you want. The story, and that's why it's so great. Sure. Because you take any aspect or any thought process or coming about it in this angle or that angle, and you can come to a different answer than anybody sitting right next.
I am curious. He could have dreamt the unicorn. He could have dreamt the unicorn. It wasn't necessarily a memory, too.
Right. There's answers for every of it.
Yeah.
But I thought that since
either way, it's got its tracks covered, you know.
But here's the thing too: when Gav puts that unicorn down, it's supposed to represent that Gav knows about these members being implanted into Deckard's head, but he still let him go. He was there to actually kill Rachel, but he decided to let them go because Gav
let him go.
He wants to be like the next big Blade Runner. He wants to get that promotion and whatnot, and then he starts to discover feelings. Who knows? He may have met Pris, the pleasure model, before then. He thought, hey, you know what? Citrate are my thing. All right.
Well, Gav had to get back to his Battlestar. I mean, he was going to take off, so we got to get back.
He's got other jobs. It's right.
And it is part of the Valverde universe.
That's right.
Scott said it's in the Alienverse. He inserted a spinner into.
That's the thing too. I heard that they put like Blade Runner stuff into Prometheus
in the background, and he confirmed it. And then Joel Silver and Steven DeSouza built on it with the Predator crossovers.
In Alien 2, there's some like pyramid in the city.
That started it, and then there's the Terminator and RoboCop crossover comics.
Really want to get into this?
They should have crossed over Star Trek, and then to Will's point,
like the Khan said and all that.
And the new Galactica then just said, hey, the Cylons are technically, they're asleep, much like these replicants, and they addressed all the Marines as Colonial Marines, so that started their whole Aliens Blade Runner connection. That fun stuff. If you're not already confused, but I mean, I still, for a movie that just came out, that was critically pushed aside, I still got to applaud them. It's like that they gave it everything they got, and the quality won out. That's cool. And
well, the visuals on that were beautiful.
Yeah,
it was good. That definitely made me fall in love with visual storytelling.
I saw it in the 2000s, so like I could appreciate it for like when the time was, but it didn't blow my socks off.
Yeah, for 1982, sure. Yeah.
Nothing like it.
I can do that math. Right. When this was made, this is dope as hell. But yeah, the original didn't impact me in the way that I think it probably would have. I would have seen it 20, 30 years earlier.
Inevitably, there's a bit of that. I mean, and I try to get inside people's minds. Maybe if I had seen it in the 80s when it came out, I might have been like, "Oh, that was stupid." You know,
it would have blown my head off if I saw that when I was.
Maybe I don't know. I'm trying to understand everyone's mindset. You know,
I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey for the first time on a small 13-inch TV.
Did you?
And it still blew my mind.
Yeah, that's how I saw Star Wars. I saw it like on a black and white, like 13-inch TV.
Yeah, I was still like totally mesmerized by that movie. That was just like, all right, because I knew it came out in the 60s. So I seen special effects look that good at that time that I thought looked better than what special effects now.
But this is 30, 40 years before. I can do that math.
Nice.
So wait a minute, Mike, did you say you actually saw Blade Runner in the theater in 1982? Is that correct? Did I hear that correct?
Yep. Yeah, I was 22.
Were people throwing tomatoes or were they pretty calm?
What? I haven't heard from anyone that actually saw this movie.
Yeah, I would like to hear that too.
Yeah.
Well, I was old enough, but I'm not quite as old as Mike. My first viewing was video.
Ouch. Shots fired.
Damn.
Was it the 70 millimeter prints that you saw, or?
Oh, I don't think so. No.
16 millimeter.
What?
Yeah.
Or in some guy's garage. No, but like, where was the theater you saw it in?
Yeah.
Grand Rapids. I can't remember. It's probably Studio 28, which is no longer there.
Okay.
Damn it. The secrets perished with the theater owner.
Well, they moved over to the Beltline in town here, but anyway. But yeah, I definitely saw it in the theater, and I remember I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, and it was a mixed bag on who wanted to see it and who didn't. So yeah,
all right.
Maybe the marketing
a couple times
could have been confusing. I guess at that time, everyone wasn't used to. Well, it is weird how you break the rules and get people interested with a new concept.
This came out right after like it was Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark, so people always
but he's
had
not
Harrison Ford.
Indiana Jones, and he's not
Harrison Ford was always going to be Han Solo or Indiana Jones, and then going from those two films, you see a new Harrison Ford film, you're like, yes, Han Solo. He's fighting a bunch of like android space robots. This is going to be epic. It's going to be a lot of action because we're a big fan of Indiana Jones.
He's a Philip Marlowe type where he's going around, he's getting beat up by
And I don't know, but I'm sure it was marketed poorly. Like
I'm looking at the trailers; they don't look bad, but they don't look complete either. You know, it's
I kind of wondered how much they pushed for the advertising and stuff for that.
I think it might have been that too. They might have said, "We don't know what this is. We don't get it, so we're not going to try."
Just the studios. Anytime a movie doesn't do well, I always blame studio execs because they're fucking talentless and they don't know what they're doing.
The trailers really want to tell you that this is a Harrison Ford movie. All right,
and this is before we got the gritty.
It's like a Harrison Ford action movie. Like
before we got the gritty Harrison and stuff like Presumed Innocent. Mosquito Coast.
We don't know Harrison Ford from being in these two other movies, and so when audience went to go see this, they were expecting one type of Harrison Ford.
Not everyone
and now they're getting like this very like brodish guy, like beat down.
I remember a friend of mine was mad because Maddie beats him up at the end. He says, "Oh, come on, you know."
That's what I've done. He's a hero.
I thought that was he was playing a different character. I didn't mind that.
An act when
and it's funny too. Because they had different casting choices. They were at one point they would have like Robert Mitchum and Dustin Hoffman. They would have Dustin Hoffman. In fact, they were like storyboards where they tried to draw.
Hoffman was up for Han Solo too. Like
but if you watch the documentary Dangerous Days, they talk about where they're drawn storyboards, and they drew the storyboards to look like Dustin Hoffman because they really wanted him to be in the movie. And he decided to say,
he was great, but I don't know if he'd be ready for that, even though he'd done
stuff. Fucking Deckard. No, thank you.
So let's, I just pulled some information up. So for our discussion, what was out at the same time? Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, Grease 2, Mega Force, holy crap, E.T., Poltergeist, Firefox,
Forbidden World,
The Thing, and Annie. And Blade Runner came out the 25th of June, and June 4th was Wrath of Khan. And did you get Megaforce actually came out on the same day? There's a whole
Megaforce,
different kind of movie.
I did
I saw
see-
Megaforce in the theater. Okay, I'm just saying
saw
I was there.
Wrath of
I
Khan
take
in
it
the
Mad
theater.
Max 2 was
Wrath of
probably
Khan.
replaying for people. Yeah.
But I just
But,
want
yeah.
that's a really wonderful time to come out, and then you get slaughtered on like the beaches of Normandy.
It's
And
like,
yeah.
Well,
no kidding.
This kind of movie, that's a terrible time to come out.
Oh, 100%.
Nations is something wildly different than what it actually is.
Now you had a off air question, Will, if the unicorn footage was from Legend. Apparently it did not, but it was the other way around. Like that was 3 years later, and so from Blade Runner. But you're half right. The Blade Runner footage that was left over was used for Legend, and I never put that together because I saw Legend first.
Well, because they were part of the same company. That was the question I was going to ask.
Ridley Scott,
Ladd, right? Alan Ladd.
I think so. Alan Ladd and Ridley.
Because when you watch the first movie and it pulls up, okay, I just have to ask this because this was one of those weird things. Because when I saw the movie,
Fever Dreams,
but it's like when the Alan Ladd thing comes up, it looks like it's on one of the screens and it has this music. And I thought as a kid, because it's the only movie I've ever seen until much later that had the Alan Ladd Jr.
Yeah, I think they were on their way out, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going bankrupt, and I thought that syncs up so incredible. The music, and I can't. Whenever I watch Blade Runner and I see that at the opening, there's something so organic and connective. I didn't know if anyone else had the same experience watching and
I
seeing
think that's why I dug it. I'm like,
okay,
this wasn't when I saw it in my teens on TV and on DVD. It was one of those where I'm like, I think it just, much like Gattaca, got me into that type of slow burn sci-fi before stuff like Altered Carbon and The Expanse was a common streaming platform thing. But I was just I knew ahead of time, people like this because it is mysterious. There's layers to it. It's not about the effects. Don't get me wrong, the effects are good, but it's not like other movies where you're like, oh, that's effects by Digital Domain or Industrial Light and Magic.
Different things to so many people. That's why it prevails. Like it is about the effects for some people. It is about the story for some people.
Absolutely, and good on them. If that's what they want to see it for, that's cool. But I knew
across
ahead
the
of
genres too. Yeah.
I go back to what William said about the Ladd logo coming up there.
Yeah.
When I see that Ladd logo coming up there, I thought of right away Police Academy, because they were the producers of Police Academy. And that logo of Ladd.
It all comes back to Police Academy.
And it just reminds me of that. But
it all comes back to Steve Gutenberg.
Once Upon a Time in America, same credit too.
Oh man, and that's 2 years later. So
yeah,
man, look at you guys go.
It's a digital tree that it fits in well with the whole.
If anything, that should have gotten everyone ready to watch a movie with digital stuff in it. Yeah.
But you got great camera work, great latent cinematography by Jordan Cronenworth.
You really have trouble telling what's a model versus what's a green screen.
Everything was.
You look forward to expanding. You feel like you're walking in the city.
Everything was going with models.
Well, you have the
miniatures, and there was no computer.
I have a freaking poster of this
animation going on with this.
I have a freaking poster of this movie in my freaking bedroom that my brother gave me about 5 years ago, and it was so funny. Like a college friend of his is moving out, and he needs help, and he just sees that, and he's like, never seen this? Big brother, you seen this? He didn't even have to ask me. He's like, I have a feeling this is your favorite movie. And I was like, you're fucking right, it is.
Oh. No, I remember things like the image of the geisha girl on the building.
Yeah.
As they're driving, as he's floating
before
by.
AT&T was doing it in '97.
Little things like putting real world companies in
now
there.
That's it. That's a typical Tuesday in New York now. With all those
Atari.
Yeah,
Atari.
What the hell? They put that
real world
over
things in there. That does something to an audience too. That evokes a feeling.
That gets you ready to
watching.
Yeah.
It's like connects you to this weird world that's so alien to you, but then you have these things. It's like, I know what that is.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
video phones too. Yeah,
video phones. If anything, this is an '80s version of Metropolis. Like it is that kind of, here's this world. here's how these cities are designed, and just that first view visual cues, you buy what they're selling you, and you're ready to go. Instead of, I'm not sure what this is.
Science fiction does it. It takes what you know and it extrapolates on it and it puts it in a place that it could be.
Bingo. Instead of, we're gonna write down all this stuff and not try to make it interesting or compelling.
Star Wars isn't science fiction. It's great.
A fantasy, but it's in space.
Like, I mean, it's not science fiction, but this is science fiction.
Yeah.
Purest form.
Totally.
Is TDK still around? I know it's TDK too.
Oh, the Blade Runner curse.
Oh,
Blade Runner curse.
okay. That's why they went out of business. That's why they went out of business.
See. Let me look.
TDK Electronics.
Yeah, because
I remember that being in the background in the first Blade Runner
Number
movie.
of employees of 2022, 24,000. Revenue, 1.8 billion.
I think they were bought out. I think that's...
It's a subsidiary of Japan based, but yeah, it was a German manufacturer.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Why is the geisha girl popping pills on the billboard all the time? What is that?
Is that an advertisement?
I don't think it was pills.
Sushi, isn't it?
She's also smoking too. I thought it was
What is the lady on the billboard?
I thought she was smoking cigarettes. I thought she was
maybe both, but I did see.
I thought she was doing a cigarette ad.
Well, the cigarettes in Blade Runner are French. I actually had a guy go to France and bought me some.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And he brought them back, and so it's one of those weird things that Blade Runner have.
That's another thing that added to the film noir, all that smoking.
Yeah.
Alexis. The name of that actress is Alexis Ray.
Oh.
And
all right.
She has been she's still working.
Good for her.
Yeah. She's an elderly woman in Black Panther. She's been in movies like Crash. And guess what, son?
Which one? Which Crash?
The 2000, the racial divide.
Okay.
That you don't like.
Not the sets Crash.
The movie Oreo and I love. She's guest starred on Lovecraft Country and Ray Donovan as a Korean shop owner. So there you go. Okay.
All right.
Well, you know, the blimp used to be in a bar in Dallas.
What?
It was in a bar in Dallas. The guy had it, and I never got to see it. I learned about that
what year?
Right?
In the 80s?
It was referenced in I don't know where I got that information from, but I remember reading that. It hangs in a Dallas bar, but I learned that in the 90s, so I don't know.
Like
the actual prop.
Oh my goodness.
According to what I remember.
Well, that's easy to track down.
Yeah, I'm working on that now.
No, go to Dallas, Texas on Twitter and ask them about the fucking bar.
Yeah, you remember when in Dallas, Texas, I'll go into the Facebook group and say, whatever happened.
Probably in Deep Ellum.
Sort it out.
Deep Ellum probably makes sense. That I can see that. But I'll ask around. It's probably on eBay too. Okay, so I have your answer here. Thanks to Facebook. So The Japanese ad in Blade Runner in which a geisha-like woman is swallowing a pill. The loudspeakers play a line from a Japanese no play saying "Ira hae katamuka," meaning the setting sun sinks down. That's what it translates to.
Sleeping pill?
Yeah. Even better. So according to special photographics effects supervisor David Dreyer, the pills being swallowed are birth control pills. But I like Gil's idea better. Maybe it's melatonin she's taking.
Maybe.
Maybe it's a combination.
But there is a lot of sex in advertising. I mean, she's dressed up as a geisha and she's eating.
Or shouldn't you want to have a good night's sleep?
Yeah, it's weird.
Kill the
I
kid,
will
go to bed.
say,
oh my god!
I will say the 2049 Blade Runner, where the girl's on the board or on the whatever she's on,
Joy.
Joy. The extra step they take of her hologram coming off of that building and talking to Kay's character.
Okay, you look lonely.
I think that character arc of Joy and Kay are great because Joy is just programmed to do whatever the user wants. And through Kay, she, becomes human, but she actually isn't really human. She's just like a program of what Kay wants. And I found that to be just a very fascinating aspect of it.
Like, or is she just programmed? Is she learning? Is she but
yeah.
When what is her name? Love, when she crushes the portable and Joy screams, "I love you" before they crush that. My heart shattered into a million pieces.
Oh, yes. Really sad.
I was like, Jesus, this movie hits. And I was just like, I cried in that theater like a couple of times. And I was like,
my heart broke even too when she's like out in the rain. And
I'll do you one better.
She goes through there, and then the portal happens, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" I mean, so you feel for this being,
right?
Even though she's like almost like programmed, especially when you see that line when she goes, "You look like a great Joe," and she calls him Joe earlier in the film too. Yeah, and I just so many.
Absolutely, and Sylvia Haska.
Life. What is it's so many questions, like highbrow questions. And it's asking there.
Sylvia Haska's gone on to do good stuff as the evil android who's trying to kill him. Love. And she's done stuff like The Girl in the Spider's Web, All the Devil's Men, and with Jason Momoa, which also has Batista. But Batista, this is the movie that made me go, this guy can really act. Like, he has some great lines.
Have you ever seen A Miracle?
Yeah, have you ever seen A Miracle? You newer models are happy scrapping the shit. Because you've never seen one. Yeah. And
I'll ask you this.
I don't mind the dirt. I do mind unannounced visits.
Was this any of yours?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is this any of yours first time seeing Anna Tamaris in a movie? Was this one?
I had seen her in Knock Knock. I was putting that slowly together. And I just was mainly a big Dennis V fan. I'm like, okay, he's got this. Arrival, all these other movies. He's got this.
I love him and Gosling. So it's like,
Sicario, I believe him. Yeah, I believe everything he's selling. But Oreo, I think you were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying that Joy is a third transformation in terms of AI tech. It started with Data, then it was Doc on Voyager, and then it evolved into Joy in 2049.
I like that.
It's a third because Deckard and then Goslings and then her. Like you could
maybe a Cinco.
Yeah. But be honest here, if there was a device there you could have a hologram on Tamaris, we would all get one right away.
Yes, before you finish.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't get one of having a hologram?
Raquel Welch for me. I like Raquel.
Okay, fair enough.
In her
to love me, I would never leave my apartment.
In her Million Years BC outfit.
Yeah.
I would worry about a video game first of all, but I would still rather an actual gopher. Just saying.
Doesn't the new Google goggles, don't they have because the guy Burback that does all the videos on YouTube, he did one and he had like a virtual person he interacted with, and he used like imagery from Blade Runner. I was like, dude, that's deep. And then when I saw the technology, Eddie Burback's video on the Google, on the Apple
on the Google.
Oh
yeah, I keep calling it Google. I apologize.
It's the first thing that comes up. Eddie Burback.
I know.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm one of those people that likes I like his videos. But anyway, he did that thing and it had like a virtual person he was interacting with, and I thought, oh my god, this is like Joy. We're close. We're getting close.
Now with the there's I forgot. There's a special type of robot doll that's out there now where it's supposed to be human.
There's a lot there. I'm not touching.
Well, I was just thinking too. When Joy had to interact with that prostitute or whatever she was, she has to interact with that. She has to use her to have physical contact with Kay. But then
also,
when she was done, she's
just like the holodeck.
But when she was done, she's like, she told that prostitute, "You can leave now."
Yeah,
you can leave now.
Because
yeah,
that's as close as the movie came to a Charlie Sheen.
You never tell prostitutes.
Sorry.
There's so much going on in that scene.
Yes.
When you're done with a prostitute, you have them go. You don't want prostitutes to stay. No matter
if you're
if
a
they're
cop.
no matter if they're
I'm
with
not a
your
crook.
holographic girlfriend or not. All right, you know.
He
Do you speak from experience?
with my holographic
the
girlfriend.
better question is, do you want an answer to that question? Anyway,
when I have my holographic girlfriend and me and her when I get free tea, all right, we gotta call a special hotline, all right. We go to our back pages and find prostitutes that know how to deal with holographic girlfriends, which is not easy to do. All right, you would think it'd be easy to do, but no. All right, a lot of those prostitutes. They do not know how to coordinate well with my.
I think we're off topic here.
How much have you paid exactly?
There's a reason we say it's explicit rating.
Mackenzie Davis, that's her. I remember her from.
And then she became a Terminator.
She was.
I knew you were gonna hate me for saying that. But
no!
Moving on.
I like that Terminator movie.
I know.
Which one was that?
We already fought this fight a couple of months ago. A year ago.
That's a good movie. I don't care who thinks it's a good movie.
You did mention a good point, how the visual style of this has been imitated not only in Total Recall but also Highlander 2 and a Madonna music video.
And the Madonna video. I remember watching the Madonna video when it came out, and they're like, "Oh, it looks like Blitter." I'm like, "Well, here I am."
Wait, which one is that?
It's
the one where she twerks.
I'm singing it in my head right now.
Madonna music video inspired.
It's from '89. It was before Vogue.
Express yourselves.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, of course.
It's very Blade Runner.
Someone talented.
She was expressing herself.
But you got to make it. Express yourself. Hey, 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 hey. And if you want it right now, make them show you how. Express what you got. Yeah.
But then Brazil off bars from this.
Awesome.
Locked in Canada. Damn it.
What about Blade Runner? I got more of Metropolis, but Metropolis.
Definitely more Metropolis. Now you'll find
learned
this
about
funny.
Metropolis from Radio Gaga by Queen.
The Bizarro.
Gaga, yeah. Queen is definitely
Metropolis.
Which scored Highlander, so it all comes back to Highlander or Queen or Madonna.
Wow,
Josh.
Yeah,
he's put into the chat the link to our RoboCop remake. Right?
And Will's are.
I need.
You'll laugh at that for $1.
Oh fuck yeah, I'm doing that now.
Speaking of ships, does anyone think that's the Sulanko near the wall when they're leaving? He and Joy are going out to San Diego, and there's a ship that comes through the mist, and it looks like the Sulanko. And
what's the Sulanko from?
From Aliens.
Oh,
it's the ship that they could take to LV-426.
I didn't
in Recall
think about
or
that.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Aliens is the only movie I've seen more than Blade Runner.
I love Alien.
I mean, even if it was or wasn't intended, I'm sure they had effects guys who worked on all of them working on it.
I just wondered if anyone thinks, because the fan theory, it's a joke. It's a little nod, but I often wondered, do people, I just wanted people that have seen it. Do you think?
Well, it'd be more interesting to know if the time frame for when these movies are supposed to be taking place kind of sync up?
Aliens is in 2179.
Right. When
I
is
mean, the
Total
alien-
Recall set?
The Conestoga class was in 2150s. That's when the Air
Blade
Force
Runner is
issued-
set in 2084, and Johnny Mnemonic set in 2021.
They really
Yeah.
not kind of attach them together. Like there's
I mean, with the Prometheus, yeah, he basically.
well,
I mean,
no, before that. I mean,
he had ideas, and I mean, Total Recall,
Well,
you can kind of build on it a bit, yeah.
the Hyperdyne models were always a little twitchy.
There's mentions of the Tyrells and like the pyramid and the City of Angels and all that shit.
They talk about Jordan Tyrell and Thelma and Louise.
So it's a Blade.
You know?
There you go. So
I'm pretty
it's a
sure. You know?
Ridley Scott's own Easter egg.
And there's that sequence too where like Louise is dreaming about a unicorn before they didn't involve Brad Pitt's character, and then there's like a scene where I think
so is Brad Pitt the pleasure model in that movie?
Oh my word!
I noticed something too. Roy Batty's first appearance
in Blade Runner.
He's got this wicked grin. It's very reminiscent of Kubrick's. Has all types of grin.
And that goes back to them using the Shining footage.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson and the guy in
True references to the Shining.
Clockwork Orange. There's always that
Mark
wicked
McDowell.
evil grin, and it's very reminiscent. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but or it's just Mr. Howard.
I mean, that's awesome.
Well, because I mean, no, they did not shoot that on the same soundstage, but I do know that William posted earlier that they're using the footage from The Shining for the theatrical ending.
The happy
of
ending.
Blade Runner. The happy ending of Blade Runner.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't feel like like you're seeing two movies in one. It's like you're using deleted scenes to tell the story for this movie that's already good.
Yeah, like all the B-roll footage that Stanley Kubrick's like, yeah, you can have that. It's not has anything to do with my movie. Please feel free.
Stanley Kubrick basically filmed everything, so he's got B footage for years.
Take 9 takes for every fucking scene.
That is ridiculous.
That scene where Tom Cruise is hitting an Eyes Wide Shut. How many times did he film that? Going down the street.
I'm
do a little bit more.
ask.
God.
You're used to running.
He was a dickhead.
My wife brought something up before I came in for the podcast thing. Does anybody know about the Blade Runner miniseries that's in the works?
Yes, we do. 2099. I can't wait. Now,
From Amazon, right? Amazon's going to
yes.
put it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Max wasn't picking it up. Netflix wasn't picking up. So yeah, Amazon is pretty much they're paying attention. They know people want hard-boiled horror anthologies, addicting mystery, and they're tapping into the sci-fi thing now with
perverted superheroes.
Here's the thing, too.
Yes, plenty of those.
I understand that everybody wants to have miniseries, but I really want a Blade Runner movie on the big screen. Blade Runner looks great on the big screen.
It has been on the big screen, and
I got to see Blade Runner on the big screen, and it was glorious. And I got to see Blade Runner 2049 on a big screen, and it was glorious. I'm not saying that there can't be a series, but
no, I know what you mean. It merits seeing on the screen. Yes,
big screen is definitely worthwhile, but I have a 75-inch TV, so I can be happy with that.
I do have a good theater system, but I think you guys are both right. We need to get back to the point where it's like, instead of we're going to the cinema just to review or because we got friends in town, we do need to get back into that gist of
friends. What are those?
Yeah, there's definitely not many friends of people in Blade Runner. But
I am curious if there might be a big cult following of Blade Runner to inherit a TV show. I don't know, because both theater movies were so bad at the box office that maybe this is what they're doing now, because the box office
they
wasn't
know
all
it's
that
still
good.
there. Yeah,
I think that's right.
Runner TV.
Probably right for them to do like a TV series like this. I get it.
Oh, it's a mini series. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and it doesn't show who the showrunner is, but I know Michelle Yeoh's attached to.
Let's get Ronald D. Moore in there. Come on,
right?
Ronald D. Moore, he can do it. He did Outlander, for God's sakes, and he did a great job.
Freaking
with that.
Outlander, yeah.
I love that show.
That was a good
I
show.
have to still check that out yet.
I think you're gonna dig it. And
Don't watch
the
it.
party
Your
scene,
series is cool.
If you've got kids at home, do not watch it in
Okay.
front of them.
yes.
I warn
Now,
people
Will,
about that.
but before we get to the next one,
Blade Runner
Will,
2099 has got Hunter Schafer, and I saw her in Euphoria. I binged both seasons of Euphoria
that's
in a
who
day.
that gal's from.
And I was like, she's also in Kinds of Kindness. So I'm sold. Hunter Schafer's in this, and you got Michelle Yeoh. I'm sold on this right
Nice.
away.
There you go. It might have a similar cinematography or atmosphere.
I would. If Yorgos Lanthimos directs episodes of Blade Runner 2099,
I don't know
there.
if it'll be that morbid. But
I want to have Yorgos Lanthimos, all right? I want to have him and Harmony Korine and like Gaspar Noé.
Oh man,
yeah. Let's get the girl
it's
who
really
made.
gonna be not safe
Let's get
for
the girl who made Titan to do Blade Runner 2099. All right,
I might give her a chance.
bring her in for that. All right. Cybernetic cars, fucking
The
other people
cybernetic
there.
organism.
Yeah, just, glorious.
I mean, yeah. To you guys' point, I mean, it's basically existing on the small screen. The anime was, I mean, had some fanfare, even though it was just 1 year. So
I should watch that. The Black Lotus.
they keep taking everything down. That's the other thing too.
Is it
It's
not
like
on? So
it's
what
on.
was
It's
Black
on.
Lotus?
It's on Crunchyroll.
It's on Adult Swim, and I watched it.
Right. It was a Crunchyroll co-production. So if you could subscribe to that for the site or through Amazon, you can.
It's not a Max because it's a Warner Brothers production, right? Or was
because the Max guy has been killing everything and taking it down, which is stupid. You know, it's just like, dude, let it breathe. You know, people want to see stuff in your vault. It might not be.
Is there a physical media release for Black Lotus?
That was. Let me look.
I would think there would have to be. How long ago was
You'd
this
be
Black
surprised what doesn't get released.
Because I saw there was a vinyl. I saw the vinyl soundtrack on sale when I was at Cheapos where I live. They had the vinyl soundtrack for Black Lotus, so I wasn't sure if they
There's a Blu-rays, but they look kind of bootleg-ish.
Yeah, I only see the soundtrack for sale.
Okay.
Okay. It's on iTunes or Vudu if you want to buy it digitally.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. I knew you were going to say that.
Go to Tiny Zone or 123 Movies.
It had a fun cast. It had Josh Duhamel, William Lee, and Brian Cox as the police chief. Yeah, it was especially, it was basically like Girl with the Dragon tattoo, where they're trying to figure out what the Black Lotus tattoo.
Wasn't Brian in Charmed?
No.
The original Charmed.
No.
Okay.
Nope, and no.
Which one was that? I know it was a Brian.
No.
Oh, you're looking
Brian
shit up.
Cox was the original Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
Yes, that's why. Brian actor.
Which for a long time was my
Brian
favorite movie
Krause is who you're
That's
thinking
it.
of. How did we
That's
get? But stop.
That's who I saw in my head. That's his name. Close.
No.
Starts
not
with a
even.
fucking C. Fuck.
Oh, he confuses so many actors in a similar name. Oh my god, are we already done? Holy shit, we've gone through the movie. Mike has gone through the entire fucking movie in the background.
I love the enhanced 2241-126 scene with the photo where he zooms in. That is such a cool scene, especially in 1982 when computers were just starting to come into vogue. That's just a really his delivery of the line and the way they go about it is just it's a great scene.
You're
The
absolutely
computer's scanning it in. Yeah.
And they do with the grid, and it's very cool.
They did,
Yeah.
like the next years when they did a computer where it was like, here's the internet, it was always just so fucking stupid.
You know, there's a scene
like, okay, that could actually be a computer.
Yeah, it holds up. The other thing is, and it just occurred to me yesterday, I was watching the credits. I've known since the movie came out, it's based on Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yes.
It hit me. You don't dream of sheep, you count sheep to go to sleep.
Plot hole. There's the only plot hole we found.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
All these years had just occurred to me. No, wait a minute. You count sheep.
We got to find one flaw in every good movie. Yeah.
I was noticing something with 2049. I was trying to figure out what the comparison was, like what was their photo, in Blade Runner when he's doing the photograph, he's trying to do enhance and moving in on the picture. What was something comparable in 2049? And there's a scene where he's a replicant. He's looking at looks like microfiche to me.
Yeah.
That like all
the
these
DNA
numbers.
records.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And that to me is what felt like it was like that photograph moment in the first Blade Runner.
And he said, stop and move.
Kinda, yeah.
Right.
Same kind of body language,
And he does a great line. You know, half as long, but twice as elegant. He's talking about ones and zeros. What a beautiful line! I was
That's
like,
poetry.
Man.
That is poetry right there. Cinematic
I
poetry.
mentioned one quick thing too. So I brought up my laser disco, The Fifth Element.
Oh, great movie!
That is definitely Blade Runner inspired. Yep.
This Fifth Element is Blade Runner, but in the daytime.
The art was based off of Mobius, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate enough to actually read some of those comics that inspired that, and some of the other Bassan, Valerian
what's
stuff.
the other one?
Valerian.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I remember. That scene is brilliant. The bones too also might be a little illusion. They're going in with the bones with Coco and the other Blade Runner. And they're zooming in. That also might be a thing. That's the subtle thing about this movie. There was so much. The technology is so interesting because there's no smartphones or anything. And I read an article about how they went about the design and how the communication. It's not supposed to be a world like ours. It's like a different take.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of talked about the technology, and I was so overcome just the little decisions that were made in this movie and how rich it was.
How
even
they
his
made it work.
pictures. Yeah, and
like that's what science fiction is. Like that's real fucking science fiction.
Yeah, exactly. Real science fiction.
Blade Runner and Total Recall both illustrate the want. Although it's just funny how they do it. You know, Blade Runner is the character still trying to figure out what makes him tick while he's solving an unusual set of android murders. While
so much more like world building and character driven.
Well, Quaid has to overcome lies before realizing it doesn't really matter. I accept my fate.
Real fucking point that's very clear that it's making while Blade
Recall's
Runner
about helping out freedom fighters. Yeah,
talking about a lot more things than Total Recall is.
Yeah, I mean, Recall is very well done popcorn mixed in with some deep shit in between and satire, and then Blade Runner is more
beautiful in their own right, but
it's just two different beasts, but similar technology, similar. It's a special kind of cake with a bunch of truffles and other tastes that.
Well, it's kind of like the way I said with Battlestar Galactica. It's sort of like it's the future, but it's more analog.
Yes,
and they have a for it being such. It's not just we just are.
They put all kinds of care. Everything matters from your fence to the pool to all the other parts of your house that we're looking at. That's what they're designing, a beautiful looking house with all kinds of care.
Well, you know, and then you had that analog type technology. Then you got the holograms.
Yes.
Oh, I got the kitty.
Is this a replicant cat?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
It's green.
I want more. I want more.
That's funny. My cat just came in. Our cats look the same. My cat came in because she doesn't like the door shut. So if I put my cat in camera like that, I might get scratched.
When I come down there to Des Moines, we're having a cat party.
Oh, nice.
Lou's around here somewhere.
I got a new car, Vern. So I swear I'm gonna drive to one of these expos and meet you guys there.
Okay, sweet. I love that. All right.
Who else is in Des Moines?
So
family friends.
I can get to Des Moines because Des Moines is close to Minnesota where I live. So
I'm in Des Moines right now.
Well, okay. Well,
look at you, Josh. What are you doing?
I can't get to Des Moines right now at the moment, but I'm sure there are buses that I can.
When April rolls around, let's see. Let's see.
Oh.
And if not, there's 50 more years.
I got excited. I didn't think anyone would ever.
I've not been to Iowa in a long time.
What's the cat's name?
I hadn't either till her now.
What's the gato's name?
Oh, my cat?
Yes.
Fran. I'm sorry. Fran. Yeah.
After Fran Drescher?
That's a good name for a cat.
We play trivia. My wife and I, we go by Lou and Fran, our cat's names.
Oh, Lou and Fran. All right.
Yeah. Lou's the other one. Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Lou Diamond Phillips and Fran Drescher.
I have two cats, Kirby and Shadow. I bet you can figure out which one I named.
Kirby.
Yeah.
The video, does he bounce around like the video game character? Does he fly?
No, I'm thinking Kirby.
Oh,
like
I
the
keep
Jack
forgetting
Kirby.
it's Jack Kirby, the comic book.
Yeah.
See,
Oh, yeah.
this is how we're wired, man. This is how we're wired, like a machine.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up